On Monday, Nasdaq was down 3%. The second biggest company in the world, Nvidia, was down 16%. Just imagine that. So why did all of this happen? Billions and billions of dollars that they've invested in AI has become pretty obsolete. Biggest change of this budget, which everybody is talking about, you will be exempted from any income tax, has been increased from 7 lakh to 12 lakh. This is sort of a master mind move from the government. It has created a favorable picture in the eyes of a lot of middle class Indians in India. Hello boys and girls, I'm Paras, the options guy, and welcome to the Nobius Trading Podcast. I hope you guys are doing great. This is episode number 34 and welcome back after a week's break because last week, as you know, I released my first ever guest podcast episode with the Alpha Trader and it was pretty good, but some people did not like it. I did get some hate comments also, like he's a scammer and stuff and whatnot, but I don't really care about that. I was only trying to get some knowledge from that guy and I got that and my mission was fulfilled. But anyways, what are we going to talk this week? Because this week's episode will be pretty interesting. We have some interesting things to talk about, like why Nasdaq crashed 3% on Monday. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what are the further implications that are going to happen in the future and all that stuff. And then we are also going to talk about the Fed's interest rate decision that was in this week. And then we're also going to talk about the union budget of India that was announced on Saturday, right? And what were the major changes in the budget? How is the budget looking and how can we see a reaction in the market going forward because of the budget? So anyways, this is going to be a very interesting episode and we also have some few things that are coming in the next week which are also going to be important. So yeah, definitely watch this episode till the end because it is going to be pretty useful for you to navigate the markets in the coming few days. But yeah, without any further delay, let's just start with the episode. So talking about what happened in the previous week, first of all, on Monday, Nasdaq was down 3%. So why was that the case? Why was Nasdaq down 3%? Why was Nasdaq down so much? And in fact, the second biggest company in the world, Nvidia, was down 16%. Just imagine that, the second biggest company in the world being down 16% in a single day. So why did all of this happen? The simple answer is DeepSeek. So what is DeepSeek? DeepSeek is basically an AI startup, a Chinese AI startup, and they released their AI model known as R1. So basically DeepSeek R1, right? And this AI model is a direct competitor to different AI models like ChatGPT and from other companies also, right? So this is a direct competitor to ChatGPT, but the good thing about this model is that it is much more efficient, much more, it outperforms ChatGPT while being 97% cheaper than ChatGPT. 97% cheaper. And because of that, what basically happened was that if this is a real thing, right? If DeepSeek's R1 is actually legit, which it actually is because it is an open source model. So basically you can download all of the stuff and test it out on your own and verify the claims that everyone is making. So it is pretty real. It is not like it is not real. But basically what happened was that because of this, what happened is that the billions and billions of dollars of investments that the US tech companies that have made in AI, right? So basically, be it Microsoft, be it Nvidia, and all of those companies, the billions and billions of dollars that they've invested in AI has become pretty obsolete up to a point, right? So let's say Microsoft was making their own AI model, right? Now all of a sudden when they see that some AI model is outperforming a very mature, not very mature, but basically a pretty old AI model like ChatGPT while being 97% cheaper, that is an alarming sign and that can indicate that all of a sudden the efforts that we are making, those have become very obsolete, and because of that we saw a lot of companies who had invested heavily into AI fall a lot. But Nvidia doesn't invest in AI. So why was Nvidia down 16% in a single day? The simple answer is that when you're developing AI models, you require GPUs, right? You require GPUs that can do trillions and trillions of operations and all that stuff, calculations and all that stuff. And so Nvidia makes these GPUs. Now all of a sudden when you're getting a AI model which outperforms ChatGPT, which is 97% cheaper, all of a sudden the demand for your GPUs will fall a lot, right? And because of that, Nvidia, basically who makes the GPUs for almost all of the companies in the world for AI operations, now all of a sudden Nvidia is faced with not such a bright future and not such bright future prospects. And because of that, Nvidia was down 16% in a single day, right? And so that is why Nasdaq was down 3% in a single day. But I'm going to tell you why the panic did not continue. If it really was a very, very bad thing, why did the panic not continue for the next day, right? For the next 2 to 3 days? After just one day, why did we see a good recovery in the market? The simple answer is because if, let's say, Nvidia, as I said, that Nvidia's future prospects are not looking so bright, so what will happen? Nvidia will go down, right? It will drag the index down slightly, but at the end of the day, if Nvidia goes down, its weight in an index like S&P 500 or Nasdaq will also come down, right? And so uh, all of a sudden what will happen is basically that Nvidia will get out of the index if, let's say, its share price continues to fall down, and it goes, it basically then commands a very small weightage in the index, and so it cannot move the index. So all of a sudden money just goes out of Nvidia and goes into other stocks, right? Which maybe it might be Apple or any other stock, right? So this is not necessarily a financial sort of panic because of which you would see pretty much a crackdown in the whole financial system. This is just a panic in the AI space. And because of that, you didn't see a follow-up to the panic that we saw on Monday in Nasdaq, right? Now, when will we really see a panic? That will be when the financial stocks, be it banks, right, or any sort of other companies, financial companies, when they start to see problems, that is when you will start to see real panic in the market, and that will have a very, very, very good follow-up, which you will probably not have seen for a long time, right? So because of that, we didn't really see a panic after the Monday's crash, and we saw a recovery. But as I said, that once the financial stocks start to get hit, maybe because of Nvidia, because maybe Nvidia will start to delay their payments and stuff, whatever the case might be, right? When the panic hits the financial stocks because of any reason, that is when you will see real panic coming into the market. Okay, so anyways, after that, on Wednesday we had the interest rate decision, the US Federal Reserve's interest rate decision, and as expected, they didn't change the rates at all. They kept the rates steady, right? Now the interesting thing out of all the whole, this interest rate decision was that in their statement, in their policy statement, they removed the sentence that they usually had kept for the last 2 to 3 meetings, and that was inflation has made progress towards the committee's 2% objective. So they removed this sentence. All of a sudden, why are they removing this sentence? Is inflation not going down? I mean, they're telling us that inflation is surely going down till 2%, right? But is that the case? Now, if you're listening to the podcast for a long time, you know that that is really not the case. Since the last couple of months, or like 3 to 4 months, we've seen that inflation has already stalled, right? And it looks like Fed is also realizing that. But Jerome Powell in his press conference afterwards clarified it and said that removal of that sentence was just language cleanup. Now, in my opinion, I think that that's pretty BS to say, coming out from Jerome Powell's Jerome Powell's mouth. Even he knows that inflation is not going down, and that is a problem. So anyways, one interesting thing that you should look out for, and as I said, that we already predicted, and not predicted, but we already knew that inflation is not going down, and it looks like Fed is also coming towards that realization pretty quickly. So anyways, after that, we had the union budget on Saturday, the India's union budget on Saturday. So I'm only going to talk about the big changes. If you want to look at sector specific changes, sector specific announcements and stuff, I'm not going to talk about those. You can find those on the government website. They have a very nice small PDF that you can download, which has all of the summarized decisions that have been made in the union budget. I'm only going to talk about the big changes and the overall, basically the theme of this budget. And the theme was basically more manufacturing focused in this time and less welfare focused. Why was this the case? Is because, the elections are done. Now you don't need to focus more on welfare for, to, lure, sort of, not lure, but basically make your government look more, good by giving more welfare schemes out and stuff. So this was more manufacturing focused as expected. Again, if I would have released last week's podcast also, then I would have definitely talked about it. But yes, budget was pretty much focused for the most part on the manufacturing of stuff, for supporting entrepreneurship and stuff, and very less amount focused on welfare. But again, that is not really a very big deal. And the biggest change of this budget, which everybody is talking about, is that the no income tax limit, basically the income tax under which you'll be exempted from any income tax, has been increased from 7 lakh to 12 lakh. So that is the biggest change. I also wasn't expecting. I was expecting maybe they will change it from 7 lakh to like 10 lakhs, or maybe not even change it at all in this budget. But they decided to change it from 7 lakh to 12 lakhs. That is a very big deal. But in my opinion, this is sort of a mastermind move from the government. Not a bad sort of mastermind move, anything that is harming the public or anything, but sort of a mastermind move, because I'm going to tell you why. You see, when they decided to change the 7 lakh limit from 7 lakh to 12 lakhs, they basically made a lot of people happy. Basically, you can say like more than 50% of the population who would care about these changes are happy after listening to this, right? They're finally happy that the government is taking steps for them. The middle class is happy and stuff, right? And this is mainly the middle class, right, who are going to benefit the most from this move, right? So but the cost that the government has to pay for this change is very small, right? Because the people who are earning like 7 lakh, 8 lakh, 9 lakh, 10 lakh, whatever the number might be, this small income, right? Even if someone who's earning 12 lakhs, right, they are not really contributing a lot to the government, right? The biggest tax comes from people who are like earning, let's say 20 lakh, 25 lakh, 40 lakh, 50 lakh per annum, because they have the highest tax rates, right? And they are also earning much more, right? So because of that, this change that the government has done from 7 lakhs to 12 lakhs will not hurt them a lot. But what this has done is that it has created a favorable picture in the eyes of a lot of middle class Indians in India. And so that is the reason why I think this is a very good mastermind move from the government. Again, not a bad move at all. Please, when I say that this is a mastermind move and stuff, please do not think that this is a sort of a bad, evil move, evil mastermind move or anything. I'm just saying that this is my interpretation of this move that has been made. Okay, so anyways, after that, a new income tax bill will also be introduced next week. So this this bill will basically make things more convenient for the taxpayers. Maybe it will streamline some things and stuff. Now we don't know when in the next week will it be introduced, but anyways, if it comes before Saturday, I will definitely cover it in the next week's podcast. So stay tuned for that. And overall, I think it was a lackluster budget. Not a lot of I think happening in this budget. So it's okay. No, not a big deal. Honestly speaking, it's fine. But yes, now let's move on to the things that are going to happen in the next week and the events that you should look forward in the next week. Now talking about what is going to happen in the next week, we only have two events and both of them are on Friday. And first event is RBI's interest rate decision. And it is expected that RBI will keep the rates unchanged, but keep this in mind that it is the first ever meeting of the RBI's new governor, who is Sanjay Malhotra. Okay. Now, as much as I've heard, he is a guy who looks at data a lot. Okay, so he is basically pretty much a data driven guy. So but still, you know what, it is expected that rates will not be changed and there won't be anything big. But still, since this is the new RBI governor's first meeting, just be prepared for anything. Okay, maybe he might just cut rates by 25 basis points because he feels like that is the right thing to do. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Don't try to be very very confident, at least for the first, like 1 or 2 meetings, right? Let us get a hold or like a gist of what exactly is his ideology regarding all of these things, and then we can form a sort of an opinion about him, right? But anyways, after that, in the night we have the US unemployment rate. Okay, unemployment rate for the month of January, and it is expected that the unemployment rate will stay at 4.1% itself, which it has been for the past couple of months. So let's see what happens. Again, as I've said, that unemployment, I feel like, will continue to rise soon. It is now taking a bit of a pause, but I feel like we will again continue to see a good move going up in the unemployment. But yes, expectations are 4.1%. Let's see how it comes. Right, and those are the two major events only for the next week. Aside from that, we do not really have any sort of major events, and we also do not have any IPOs that are coming in our markets next week. So let's move on straight up to the market analysis. Now talking about the market analysis, if you see, the market over here has moved 1.6% in this week, and this candle is also included in this week itself. Basically, because of the trading session on Saturday, it is showing that it has happened in the new week. But anyways, we'll just ignore this candle and only look at this candle. So if you see in this candle over here, what has happened is that basically Nifty gave a breakdown of this support and then tried to move down and has now given a bit of a pullback. So it was pretty expected that Nifty will give a pullback, and I'm going to tell you why. So if you go into the daily charts and see over here, right, Nifty tried to move down over here, but if you see, Nifty was taking a lot of time, right? And this usually happens is that whenever the market, breaks down from a certain level, which is pretty obvious, it will not try to move down in just one single take. It will go up to take the stop loss of anyone who has sold maybe over here, right? Or maybe over here, right? It will go up to take the stop loss of all of those people, and then it will start to move down. So that is why Nifty also did see a bit of a recovery this week, and also especially because of the budget. Because what happens is that in big events like this, maybe it is the budget or any other event, what happens is that traders want to not take a heavy position. So if you see, Nifty was pretty, negative over here also, very negative over here also, and because of that, a lot of people would have made short positions, and because of that, they would have covered before the budget. They would have basically done short covering before the budget, and because of that, we saw a bit, a good move on the upside. So what can we expect over here? First, let's also talk about Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty also same thing. If you see, not moving down very fast, and because of that, we did see a recovery in Bank Nifty also. Although Bank Nifty has not gone above its, you can say, support, above its support, which has now turned into a resistance. So what is going to happen over here? It is pretty simple. Now, this week the market could be pretty volatile. Keep this in mind, because first of all, we have the RBI's meeting on Friday. So because of that, maybe the market might be pretty volatile before that. But if things should be, if things should go according to plan, then we can expect again a bit of a weakness in the first half of this week, of the coming week. And why do I say so? Is because of two things. First of all, if you go and see how the closing is of the US markets over here, very very bad closing over here. Dow Jones, if you see, making a very horrible candle at the top. Nasdaq also not looking that good over here. S&P also not looking that good over here. So all of these three indices in the US are looking pretty not great over here, and that is one thing. The second thing is that what happened, today we had the union budget, right? And the union budget was pretty lackluster. Even if you see, even right when the union minister announced the plan to basically increase the no income tax rate, basically no income tax from 7 lakh to 12 lakhs, even then the market could not react very well over here, right? So it looks like the budget was also pretty lackluster. But since it was a Saturday, a lot of, I think, institutions were not present in the action. And because of that, I think we can see a reaction on Monday. And because of that, we might see weakness coming in the market on Monday, because the budget might be fully digested on Monday and not before that, right? So if you open with a gap down, I think then you should continue to take a sell in Nifty again, at least till 23,000 on the downside. And after that, if Nifty is not able to hold 23,000, then we can expect even more sell off from here. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind is that maybe as we get closer to the RBI event, the market might try to look a bit bullish. But keep that in mind is that, in my opinion, again, if the rates are not going to change, then that will also be a very good opportunity to take a short position at higher levels, that up move that will come before the RBI event, because people expect RBI events to be pretty bullish and stuff. I don't know why sometimes, but yeah, because of that, if you see any sort of bullishness before the RBI event, you can think about taking any sort of, short setups after the RBI event is done. Because sometimes what happens with the RBI events is that it is sort of a pump and dump scheme. So before the RBI event, the market will go up, go up, go up, and as soon as the RBI event is done, the market will just hover a little bit, and then you'll see a sell off, right? So that thing can also happen on Friday again in our markets. So keep that in mind. Again, that depends on how the markets are before Friday itself. Okay. So if we open with a gap down in Nifty near 23,350 or below that, and it is expected that we'll open with a slight gap down, because the US markets are also not closed pretty well over here. So if you open with any sort of a gap down over here, all we need to look at is Nifty breaking this support and then giving a pullback and then making a lower low over here. If Nifty is making a lower low after opening with a gap down, then chances are that Nifty will go down till at least 23,160 first of all, which will be an intraday target for you. And then we can also expect a target of 23,000 on the downside. So I hope you guys understand that. So that is for Nifty. Now talking about Bank Nifty over here, if you see Bank Nifty also, yeah, Bank Nifty also not looking that good over here. Probably will open somewhere near 49 100, 200 to 100 somewhere over here, right? So if you open with any sort of a play, with a gap down over here, we'll wait for one pullback till 49,400 to 300 at least. And and once we get near 49,400 to 300, that is when we'll go ahead and take a short position. Now, what might happen with Bank Nifty is that if you open with a gap down somewhere near 49,100, maybe Bank Nifty might slide down in the first few candles itself below 49,000. And in that case, all we need to do is look out for a pullback again till 49,000 to 49,100. And in this zone, we will go ahead and take a short position again for lower levels. Till where exactly? Then your first target will become this over here, which is 48,500. Now, again, this might not come in a single day itself. Again, that depends on the price action that you're seeing on Monday. Okay. If the budget was really bad, 48,500 will not be a big deal at all, and it can come easily in a single day also. But if the budget is not that good, then we need a target which is a bit more closer. And so then you can think about booking your profit somewhere near 49,800 and then maybe holding a little bit of quantity till the lower levels of 49,500. But if Bank Nifty starts to move down from here, 48,000 is also not really a big deal, and we can easily see 48,000 coming also. So that is the analysis for the next week. I think next week will be a little bit volatile, and after that is when we will get a clear move as to where Bank Nifty and Nifty are trying to go. Are they trying to go up or are they trying to go down? So yeah, that was the market analysis for the next week. So yeah guys, that was it for this week, and thank you very much for watching till the end. And all of you guys who are new over here, thank you very much for watching till the end to you too. But yeah, thank you very much for also showing me the support in the last week and the last few days. Basically, I've really felt very overwhelmed with the support, and I really thank you all again for all of it. And I hope you guys do enjoy the content that I'm making. But if you have any sort of suggestions for the content that you want, if you have any sort of suggestions that you want change something in the podcast and stuff, do let me know in the comments. You can also DM me on Instagram or on LinkedIn, and I will also look at your DMs and try to make any sort of changes that I can which are in my hands. But yeah, I will see you guys in another week, in another video, in another episode. Bye bye.